Today's episode of Hoppy on Broadway is sponsored by Lucky Envelope Brewing. Lucky Envelope Brewing is a family-friendly, award-winning brewery in the East Ballard neighborhood of Seattle, Washington. The tasting room and outdoor patio are a great place to enjoy their culturally inspired beers, whose recipes draw from modern and historic brewing styles and ingredients. The tasting room is open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday, and you can find more information at their website, luckyenvelopebrewing.com, or on their social media accounts. What's up, everyone? My name is K-Rad. I'm a rapper, producer, beer lover, and now I'm a podcaster. Podcasting about Northwest hip-hop and Northwest beer. Why? Well, I love them both, and frankly, you should too. So sit back and crack a cold one as a weekly guest and I talk about all things hip-hop and hops. This is Hoppy on Broadway. Yo, welcome back to Hoppy on Broadway. This is K-Rad, and we're on episode 14, I believe. We're drinking Lucky Envelope Brewing today, and I will be interviewing DoNormaal. Nothing big to announce on today's show, although I will say, again, we are on iTunes officially now. Every single episode you can find popping up on iTunes if you just search Hoppy on Broadway. Of course, we're still on SoundCloud and on YouTube as well if the podcast app doesn't work for you on your phone. But please just, if you dig it, give it a follow, a like, and like my Facebook page, which is just KRAD, K-R-A-D. And I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, all that crap. That's at K-Rad. But that time the dash is actually spelled out. So it's KDASHRAD. Follow me there, find all the updates on the show, all my projects, funny shit. I like to post funny shit. Without further ado, though, let's start the show by listening to a clip of DoNormaal's new song, Ego Slave.
I can't stand to let somebody take my love away. Goddamn, I'm in awe of myself, so what? I take a fucking bullet for myself someday. If all this on my mother doesn't cry, no tears. I have everything I thought I lost that night. Wouldn't give it back at any cost that high. They told me that I was a slave. What's new? My skin is looking black, my ego bright.
SoCal native turned Seattleite, the artist DoNormaal is on today's show to talk about all things hip-hop and hops over a few beers from Lucky Envelope Brewing. In 2015, she released her first full-length album, Jump or Die, and just 4 months ago, she dropped her second full-length follow-up, Third Daughter. She's performed at Sasquatch Bumbershoot, Timber, and Upstream festivals, and at countless venues all over the map. But today, she's off the stage and on the show on Hoppy on Broadway. DoNormaal, thank you so much for joining me today on this disgustingly rainy day in Seattle. Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, just settling back into this Seattle weather,
Yeah. It's that time of the year.
Yeah.
So you were saying to me that you're kind of not you're from the Ballard area, but you're in the Ballard area right now.
Yeah.
Have you been to many breweries around here at all?
I've been to Ballard Brewing.
Okay.
I've been to that little bicycle stop.
Peddler,
yeah.
We've had them on the show before.
Okay, cool. And then I've just been to all the bars around pretty much.
Sure, so you're no stranger to the area.
Yes.
We're going to kick it off with the Grapefruit ENIAC IPA right here from Lucky Envelope. Do you drink IPAs ever?
Yeah, I do.
You a fan?
I am. I like beer, but I don't really know anything about it.
Welcome to the club.
I usually just go to the bar and I'm like, what's the strongest thing you have? And
that's what they give you?
Yeah.
That's the way to turn up, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a drink of this. This is 6.8%, so it's one of those higher ones that you'd order at a bar, probably.
All
Cheers.
right, Brain. You don't like me and I don't like you. But let's just do this and I can get back to killing you with beer.
I like that.
Me too.
That's juicy. You can definitely taste that grapefruit in there.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's smooth. I could toss back a few of these. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Lucky Envelope. So that's why I kind of brought up the Ballard thing. They're from Ballard. They're like just right over there, kind of past Safeway in that direction east of here. So we're out here in the Northwest, Ballard obviously, but you're not from here. You're from Southern California. And then you went to school at Sarah Lawrence, correct? On the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then you came back to Seattle with Raven Matthews, your partner. Is that correct?
Yes.
So why did you guys come back to Seattle?
Well, Raven came back a year before I did, because he left school. He felt like it was a better use of his time to come back here and work on music. And so I finished up my last year at Sarah Lawrence, and he was here, and I just kind of, we had been seeing each other, and we'd also been making music together. So when I graduated, it was kind of just like, okay, I could go out there and join you, and we could see what we could get going, musically. And so that's what we started working on.
And what year was that when you came back here, or came here?
That was 2013, the summer of 2013.
Okay, and then 2 years later, you dropped
Jump or Die.
Jump or Die. Yes, sorry.
A year after I got here, I dropped this little EP, the DoNormaal EP. That was the first project I ever released.
EP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Jump or Die came after.
And you've just been performing all over the place. I was looking through, I do my research on my guests, and I was looking through your Facebook and your Instagram, and you perform a lot.
Yeah.
You just had a show at the Substation.
Yeah.
Is that right? And you were with Snuff Redux.
Yeah.
So that's one of my, Skylar.
Oh, you mean Snuff Redux did play the Substation show, but we also had a much bigger show. Well, it wasn't a much bigger show, but it was our 6950 show at Chop Suey that Snuff Redux played.
Okay. You
Yeah.
guys have had a couple shows together, though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that Skylar, the lead singer of Snuff Redux, he went to my high school, and we used to jam a little bit just here and there.
Oh, cool.
He's great music.
Yeah, I love them.
Oh man, such great indie pop,
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you're speaking of like indie pop as a genre, you've kind of described your music as genreless. You definitely have elements of rapping and also R&B in there, but it kind of spans. It spans the distance. So like, no one's gonna just call it hip hop. Was that ever like a conscious thing that you wanted to be like, I'm gonna just go balls to the walls, do my own thing, or was it just a total natural kind of progression into your music that it just became this DoNormaal sound?
Yeah. I think it's a natural thing. It's just kind of like all of my different influences throughout my whole life, mixed in with my unique weirdness, and then out comes this sound, and then obviously the producers that I work with too. A lot of them have tried really cool new stuff.
Yeah.
That has given me the opportunity to kind of just like, experiment. And so yeah, I think it's totally just what was gonna be my sound, which is interesting because when you first start making music, I think specifically hip hop, you like, you're probably a hip hop head, and you like have a really, you have that base knowledge, that fundamental hip hop knowledge, and you kind of like want to sound like that, and you want to sound like the greats, and then
the influences.
Yeah, exactly. And then, as you do it more and you kind of start to get more comfortable, you naturally just start to, bring all those little things like from your childhood and things that you used to listen to, and I think that, it just naturally became this mismatch of different things that I liked.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did that kind of come into fruition during your first EP? Is that when you kind of experimented with these producers and developed that sound?
Yeah, totally. I think right off from the bat, it was, with that EP, it was like kind of my own thing. And I just wanted to really experiment with my voice and, experiment with different cadences and try to be as free on the tracks as possible.
Sure.
And
just get in the booth and try different things, experiment, and find what you were looking for. Well, it's definitely a distinctive sound that, it's carried on through all your projects that I've been listening to. And one thing that really stands out to me is your lyrics. They're very, you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what I'm trying to say into one word. Because you started writing very young, right? Poetry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then sometime very later, you started into songwriting.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was always kind of writing songs, but I didn't see it that way. It was kind of just like playing around with my friends. But, my poetry always had a really strong musical quality to it. And I think I was kind of just like crawling my way up to feeling comfortable to like calling myself a musician and like using my voice in that way. And I still love to write page poetry, and I still do that all the time. But when I started to make music, it was a really freeing experience, and it kind of gave me, it felt very right and very much like a natural progression from the poetry that I was making. But yeah, I've been writing. That's what I have liked to do the most my whole life since I was very little. So,
are you a reader of poetry, or is it mostly?
Yeah,
you are. Do you have any favorite poets out there?
Yeah, I really love Sylvia Plath, Gwendolyn Brooks, Sonia Sanchez, John Berryman, Emily Dickinson is great. Emily Dickinson is really interesting to me because like
She's got strange lyrics, or not lyrics.
Yeah,
but
basically, yeah. She, you learn about her from when you're really young, and like you kind of, when you're young, you don't quite understand how like incredibly strange and just like revolutionary it was for this woman to be like speaking like this and having these ideas in the time that she was.
Yes.
And yeah, she was somebody that it wasn't until I got older and I looked back at her work and I was like, you're not just like some boring like old.
She was like borderline
white lady poet.
crazy. Like,
yeah.
During her older years, she never left her house.
Yeah, total recluse. Yeah.
And I remember I was studying in high school and I forgot, this line always stuck in my head, but she literally said like, I'm going to sever my bosom. And it was something about, being a woman in this man's society. And
wow.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of very deep, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why she's one of the greats. Mm-hmm. But how does that compare to like, you looking up to, different artists up there? Do you ever like go back to poetry and try to make your lyrics fit that? Or are you just free form or?
Yeah, I'm pretty much just free form. With my music.
Or your poetry.
Yeah, I'm pretty free form. When I first started writing poetry, I would rhyme a lot and like do, little, whatever those rhyme schemes are and stuff like that. But I kind of stopped doing that because when you go to school for poetry, they try to like make you do things that don't come naturally. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my teachers were like, I don't want you to rhyme so much anymore. And so I started writing very like free verse poetry, like little stanzas and things like that were kind of prosy and stuff. But yeah, no, I try to listen really hard when I write, and I get a lot of inspiration from things that I read and things that I hear. But I try to just listen, and usually, especially if I'm listening to music, something will come up. I'll hear something, and then I'll kind of just try to like dig that out. What is that thing that I'm hearing? You
mean like either a melody or a phrase or something?
Yeah.
And you're turning it into chorus or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Are you writing to beats, or are you writing some lyrics and then making them fit into a beat that you like? Or
I usually write to the beats. Every now and then, like I'll get something on the bus without a beat, and then I'll kind of see what that sounds good with. That I have, but I usually write to the beats.
Yeah. And I heard that you were also trying to start making beats on your own a little bit. Has that been still doing? Have you still been doing that and been making any music of that? Yeah,
totally. I play around and I have a lot of things that I think that I'll try to really finish and put out like a little EP that's self-produced in the next few months. It's all like, a patience thing for me because I don't have a lot of patience, and like the technical side of things is always the side that really like bores me. I love kind of thinking about what I want to make and then like, making that original loop. But then it's like after that, I oftentimes like lose interest. So it's kind of like I'm working on trying to be a little bit more diligent
at finishing.
Yes,
that's the producer's dilemma.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been making beats since high school,
yeah.
and every time I start something in life, if I don't finish this today, I'll never finish.
Yeah, exactly. So many producers I know that just have thousands of files sitting around.
And just nothing's finished.
Yeah.
Until they sell it, at least. One thing I got to congratulate you on, I read in, I think it was, maybe it was Seattle Weekly or saying that, or maybe it was The Stranger, I can't remember, but that you made the move to full-time music not too long ago. Congratulations. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to do that. Have you been just finding yourself through your own shows and your music?
Yeah, pretty much. I do now. I was working at a daycare 2 days a week, and then I dropped it to 1 day a week, and then I wasn't working there for a while, but now I went back to working there 1 day a week. So I do that, and then I pretty much just make my money through Bandcamp and through having shows, and then I'm also going to be putting out some merch soon, so that'll be some supplemental income. But I've been really lucky because the apartment that I share with Raven is very cheap.
In Ballard?
In Ballard,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, totally. It's very cheap, and it's a 1-bedroom, and that's kind of like, that's helped us so much, So it's kind of just like a perfect storm has happened and allowed me to have a lot of free time.
I smoke my soul away, summer's coming soon. I'm gonna smoke my soul away. That's what I do. I'm gonna smoke my soul away. I smoke my soul away. Maybe I got time to rewind, throw my smoke up.
All right, we're gonna get right back into it with the Lucky Envelope Hell's Lager. It's just a normal kind of pale lager, which is a special kind of Hell's, or I guess a Hell's is a special kind of pale. I've never had this. In fact, this is the first time I've had Lucky Envelope Brewing. But so far, we're 1 for 1. We're batting 1,000 on what I like. Let me get you a little bit here. It definitely isn't as heavy as the last beer. But should go down pretty easily. Cheers.
Cheers.
Why does beer taste so good?
Because you've just had 7.
Very nice. Light.
That's definitely a pale lager, but it's got a little bit of a fruitiness to it. And I don't know if that's the aftertaste still from the grapefruit before, but I don't think it is.
No.
It's got some type of flavoring.
Sweet. Yes. I like it.
I like it too. Anything that pops out to you?
It totally is. It's like if you want to just get a Budweiser. It's like a fancy Budweiser.
Yeah, it's like a 30 times better Budweiser.
Exactly.
Well, we're drinking beer today, but as I know, you're a marijuana smoker, I'm a marijuana smoker, and if anything, your track Dime is a testament to it. So we're gonna play a game. This game is called Whack or Fact, all right? I went around the town to a few different dispensaries and made a list of the weirdest names for strains for sale here in Seattle. But on this list, I've also included a handful of fake weed strains. I'm gonna read you each strain one by one, and you have to tell me if it's whack or if it's fact.
Okay.
Sound simple enough?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. First one, Yodacity.
I'm gonna say whack.
You are correct. That is whack. All right, pretty good start. Pure Life.
Whack.
That's correct again. Ooh, 2 whacks off the start. Okay. Alien Gum.
Alien Gum. Fact.
That's correct. 3 for 3. Dog Walker.
Whack.
No, that's right. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Dog Walker.
Dog walkers do need to smoke weed. You know, it's a perfect job.
Because it's just so probably boring, you know.
Yeah.
Making life as exciting as a dog probably sees it.
Yeah.
Okay. Grandma's Apple Pie.
Whack.
Yeah. Half the fun of this game is me creating the fake ones. All right. Pink Cookies.
Fact.
That is correct. Well done. Only missed one so far. Froggy OG.
Fact.
Incorrect. That is whack. You're still doing great though. You're way ahead of the curve as most people, but hopefully I didn't just jinx you. Gobstopper.
Fact.
That's correct. You're like a deep thought when you like figured this out. You're like, hold up, have I smoked it that one time? All right. Limoncello.
Whack.
That's fact.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. Maybe it's limoncello, but it's definitely not lemon. So I'm going to say limoncello. But yeah, it's a fact. Mango Melody.
Whack.
Yep, you're correct. Sneakerhead OG.
Whack.
Dang, you only got 2 wrong. And this is no bullshit. That might be the best anyone's ever done on this.
Okay,
Most people
that's
average
good.
3 wrong. At the worst, I think someone's gotten 5 wrong out of 11 or so. But congratulations.
Thank you.
Speaking of a congratulations on your latest release. Third Daughter came out last July, and I've been scouring the web, reading all these reviews, reading all about the album, and critics seem to love it. How has the reception been for you personally?
It's been good. Yeah, I feel like it seems like a lot of people are listening to it on the platforms that it's on, and yeah, I've gotten some nice things said about it in the press, so it's been good. You know, I'm very I have a pretty, I know so many people in Seattle, but I have a pretty small circle, so it's like sometimes it's hard to know exactly what the general reception is from people, you know, but I think that it's good.
I mean, you're getting thousands of plays on SoundCloud, so that must be at least some type of factual evidence that people dig it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, it sounds great. It's got this, you've kind of described it as the themes are about your childhood, such as Third Daughter, as you were in your family. It revolves around themes of isolation, rejection, anxiety, depression. What I've noticed through listening through it, it's very emotional, but also that a lot of it, not necessarily emotional in a bad way, but although I will say that a lot of the beats have a dark tonality to it that kind of carries throughout, sonically speaking, but you know, it carries that kind of smooth, laid back, DoNormaal flow that we all know as long as your melodies. But what I want to ask you about so many rappers and so many artists in general in this day and age have a lot of features on their album, but you only had two, one of which was Raven, and then the other one which was Wolf Tone. Why not more, and why not less?
Yeah, I think it's really just the time and the energy that it takes to get a feature is like something that I think is best for like really organized people that, you know, I'm not. Like, it takes me a really long time just to get all of my stuff together to release a project, and it's like a very slow process for writing and recording the songs. So it's just easier to do it by myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like really just like that's what it comes down to. And also, like, I probably would have more features if I did more working in the studio with people. But I don't really, like, my creative process is like very independent, and I kind of just like hole up at home and do my thing. So, you know, that's really what it comes down. And then also just like being greedy, you know, if there's a beat that I like, I kind of, you know, it's easy for me to write a whole song to it, and I kind of want to. So
yeah, or maybe like you write so much that you look back on it and like, if I did put a feature on it, it'd be like another minute long or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
But one thing I've also noticed is you have a wide selection of producers. Are these just all your friends, or because you've worked with some of them on your past album? Are they from Seattle, or are they people you knew from college, or what?
Yeah, they're all my friends, and they're all from Seattle except for Old Slab, who he was going by Secret Spanish when I did Jump or Die, but he's on there. He's also on my EP by a different name. And he's in New York. I went to school with him. So he's out there still. But then everybody else is from Seattle, and just people that I have met here doing music, doing shows and stuff, and formed friendships with,
Definitely in collaboration, either just going to their shows or seeing them. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, you were saying that it's a very slow process for you. Mm-hmm. And I was also listening to another interview where you were saying that sometimes you don't go for writing a song for like a month at a time.
Yeah.
But now that you're doing music full time, what are your days comprised of if you're not just writing, or are you forcing yourself to write now?
Well, yeah, I feel like when I first came to Seattle, I was really busy because I was doing landscaping full time, and I was like busing to all these landscaping jobs, and I was really, really tired, and like I would come home and I wouldn't really have that much energy to work on music. And then
I bet.
And then, you know, when I started being able to work less, and now I don't work, you know, I don't do landscaping at all, and I just have a job that I go to one day a week. It's kind of like, it took me a long time to settle into that routine, and I spent a lot of that first chunk of having a lot of free time just like really chilling tough, you know, and like visualizing, imagining things. I like to imagine my art a lot and sit and think about it and listen to beats and listen to like half-finished songs that I've done. I spend so much time in that place, a lot more than I actually spend writing and recording. And it always kind of feels like the finishing product of things comes down to the last minute, the nitty-gritty, when I feel like I finally have everything in place, and now I'm just going to hunker down and really pull all these pieces together. But I feel like, you know, that was a time, and now I'm entering this new realm of having, it's been like a lot, I don't know, half a year or so of not having to work full time, and I'm getting into a routine now where I am starting to write a little bit more. But like my days are mostly just comprised of hanging around, you know, like I like to be at home. I like to chill out. I like to go on the internet and like watch interviews and go down those YouTube rabbit holes. And a lot of my time is taken up by doing stuff like that, or just like daydreaming and staring into space, you know?
Yeah. Letting it, you're marinating in your own, in your own aura.
Yeah,
Letting it come to you when you're ready.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's not how it was when you were making this album. You were still working up until this album, right?
No, I guess a few months before I released this album, I stopped working. So, I mean, this album has songs that had been done for like a year and a half before it was put out. It took a long time to make it because I wasn't really like gonna release it at this time, so I better get it done. It was really just a slow crawl to the finish of this album. So it was kind of like, you know, that process, a slow process, just kind of picking up the pieces at the end of it
and finally letting it culminate into a full length. What is it, 19 tracks?
Yeah,
something
19
ridiculous.
tracks,
That's a big album.
Yeah. That ends up being what happens when you do it slowly like that because it just becomes so much time. And then there's all this music that you have. And, there's a lot of songs that I didn't even record that I had written during that time. And I just kind of chose 19 and went with that.
And it worked out. I mean, now it's out there, and it's
Thank you.
and how long is the album? Like 45 an hour?
I think it's a little over an hour. It's
Yeah.
an hour and 3 minutes or something.
That's a lot of music.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And now you're working on your music video for, I just read this off your Twitter. You just filmed a music video
Yeah,
for
Magic DoNormaal.
Magic
yeah.
DoNormaal. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. When can we expect that?
I think mid-December is what we're shooting for. Yeah, it's cool. We were able to go on a boat because my friend Reed, who directed it, has friends, and also his partner Ruby was the camera woman, and they have friends that have a boat. So we were able to go on a boat and shoot a scene on a boat. And,
Swag.
Yeah, like this really old, abandoned, rotting dock that was, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere down by the viaduct. Around there, but
So it's like right down there in the heart of downtown. Nice. It's gotta be some cool views.
Yeah, it's gonna be really visually stunning. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out this section, I want to ask you one question. Let's say no one in the world has heard Third Daughter, and they only get to listen to one song off of it. Which one should they listen to?
I think Okie Doke. Yeah, I think that sound is a good kind of wraps up what I was really feeling when I wrote that.
Just
Yeah.
yesterday I saw muscle men breathing. If that's not deceiving, really if it happens in my head, is it truly any different from seeing? Counting my bread, feeling pain for this evening, but I'm not eating, but they're cooking, and I'm writing my song without even looking. I'm the rookie, they haunt me like Jesus, baked like a cookie. Baked like a cookie, now we've all changed, just like the seasons for unexplainable reasons. Act like we're all same.
All right. For the last and final beer of today, we are drinking their raspberry sour. Are you accustomed to sours, DoNormaal?
Yes.
You are.
I have had a few. Enjoyed them very
You've
much.
enjoyed. Okay, good.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, and that makes me happy to hear because when I first tried sours, it took me a couple months. Did you want to finish that off before I mix it in?
Sure.
I probably shouldn't mix it up. When first time I had sours, at least for a couple months, I just did not like them. But now I drink them and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're good. So let's see how this raspberry sour ale from Lucky Envelope Brewing is. Final cheers.
Cheers.
Well, beer, we've had some great times.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That is sweet and right in mouth sour.
Yeah, that's like candy.
Yeah.
Being a kid from the 90s with all the sour candies that they had, like this is my type of thing.
Yeah, but not like candy as in like too sweet. It's not
No.
like a Smirnoff Ice.
No.
This is definitely a beer.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna take another drink.
A healthy candy.
It's good for your soul. That's good. Yeah, you can really taste the raspberries. They come out.
Yeah.
Kind of stays on your tongue for like a couple seconds afterwards. A good aftertaste. Cheers to that. Let me ask you, did you have a favorite out of these?
I think probably the grapefruit.
The grapefruit IPA?
Yeah.
Right on. Well,
It's really good.
whenever you're finished with that, you're welcome to pour yourself more of any of the three.
Oh, thank you.
But right now, we're going to play another game. This game is called Chop It Up. The game is played a little bit like either or. I'm going to give you two names. They may be real, they may be fictional, and you have to choose who you'd rather have a beer with. Say like at a bar, pub, whatever. This isn't necessarily who you're a bigger fan of, but try to think about who you might want to talk to or get to know more, or maybe even get drunk with.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yes.
All right. Michael Jackson or Aretha Franklin?
Oh, man. Wow. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The king of pop.
Yeah. Gotta be Michael.
Well, Aretha's going to have to drink alone then.
Yeah.
Lauryn Hill or Kanye West?
Wow. Are you? I feel like
I've done my research.
Kanye West.
Yeah?
This is terrible. I'm picking all the dudes. Anyway, okay, yeah, Kanye West.
I mean, yeah. I think I told someone else this who I had this game on with that. I would love to, he didn't choose Kanye. I think it was between in that one. It was like Kanye over Nas, and he chose Nas or something. And I was saying Kanye because I would love to just pick his ear about like some of the rants he's been on.
Yeah.
I went to Kanye's show last October when he came here.
Me too.
And he did that rant.
Yeah,
And it was
amazing.
like, whoa, I'm experiencing this.
Right? And then it was like everywhere the next morning.
He was all tweeting about it, and it's like, dude, so
uh-huh.
what? Like,
Yeah.
I love that I could witness it.
Totally.
All right, Godzilla or King Kong?
King Kong.
Really? Give me your rationale.
I guess I just really, I don't know, I really like empathize with King Kong. Like I feel like he has a really good heart, and maybe Godzilla does too. I didn't really see any of that.
He does.
Okay,
And
okay.
He's like, it's the same kind of story. It's like the man
Okay.
forced him out and thought he was a predator.
Yeah. I like primates a lot. So King Kong.
King Kong.
That's why.
Okay, cool. Oprah or Ellen?
Oprah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I gotta say Ellen. She cracks me up.
Yeah. You know, she's funny, but like I just watched like a clip of her show on YouTube the other day, and it just kind of seemed like she was really like tired of her job. She looked like dead behind the eyes, and
Ooh.
it's like I feel like she's getting to the point where it's like she kind of gets like, you know, she has guests on and she kind of like gets annoyed if it's not all going like her way.
Really?
You know?
I don't watch her that much, so I
Yeah.
can't say I can know
Yeah,
that.
I feel like that business makes you hard, and I feel like Oprah has gotten to the point where it's like she kind of owns everything, so like she can just be like, yeah, I love this. you know?
Plus, you'd probably be like getting a drink, and she'd just be like, "You're getting a beer. You're getting a beer. You're getting a car."
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you're thinking.
I want to be
economically.
around that.
All right, last one. A Capitol Hill taco truck vendor or a Capitol Hill hot dog vendor.
Oh, taco truck, because I want a free taco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you. Even though their gourmet hot dogs up there are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
But when you get drunk, you want Mexican food.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a step back and we're going to talk about the Northwest and Seattle hip hop. I guess, culture that we are amongst right now. You mentioned earlier the 6950 group. Is that technically a collective, or how would you describe 6950?
Yeah. Well, there is a group of people that are like most closely affiliated with 6950, and so in that way it's a collective. But like in a broader sense, it's really just like a movement and an energy and a vibe that we try to create at our shows, which is just a vibe of radical acceptance and you know, just kind of trying to highlight artists that we think are really innovative and doing something that kind of pushes the boundaries and is subversive in some way. And, you know, that's what 6950 is. It's just kind of like a new vision and, you know, a movement of trying to create new sounds and new aesthetics and things that kind of subvert the dominant narrative, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you exactly mean by radical acceptance?
Yeah, well, anybody can be a part of it. Anybody can claim it. Anybody can come to the shows. When you do come to the shows, it's people from all over Seattle, all different neighborhoods, all different social scenes, and you can do what you want in those spaces when it comes to your creative expression. You know, there's no, you know, we book shows that span across all genres, and you know, it's just there's nothing off limits. And by radical acceptance, it just means a radical acceptance of
Yeah.
pretty much all things. You know, not like things that will hurt people, but you know, yeah.
Very cool. But you mean you go out to a lot of shows. Obviously, you're in a lot of shows. What do you see in the Seattle community you might have not seen over in New York or down in SoCal? What can you tell us about Seattle that's different in the music community?
Yeah, well, I think that it's cool to see how supportive and interested the locals here are in local art. That's something that I hadn't experienced. I haven't really been heavily involved in any other local music scenes, but you know, something that struck me when I came here was just that the community of local artists was really vibrant, and there's so many really amazing artists here, and people support local artists. You know, they want to support them, they want to help them, you know, survive and make money for the most part. The people do, at least. I don't know about like the structures of Seattle, but I think that's something that's really cool, you know, and I think that's why you can get a lot of artists that just like are kind of like Seattle artists, and they're like Seattle famous, and they kind of just stay here, and this is their thing because it's comfortable here, and you know, you get treated well in that sense of like people know you and they respect you.
Is that a good thing?
I think that it can become something that keeps artists from catapulting to the next step, whether that be, you know, the national level or the international level. I think that there can be kind of like somebody commented on this on one of my music videos, but like a big fish, small pond mentality, you know, where it's like everything's really good here and people know you and you get played on KXP and you get talked about in The Stranger and it kind of seems like you made it, but you haven't, it's still kind of hard to get paid here by the venues, and it's still like, there are other opportunities that might expand your reach, and that you're not going to get unless you leave Seattle, because for some reason that's just the way it is. It's not like New York or LA where if you're doing something really cool and the whole city of LA is paying attention to you, the whole country is paying attention to you.
Yeah.
It's not really like that in Seattle for whatever reason.
Is that something you think as a community we should aim to change, or do you think that's up to the artist, or where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I think that, I don't really know what it would take. I don't know if it would take like more of like a management culture here, a culture of people who are managers and publicists and that are at that business level that are really trying to help local artists expand their reach. That's kind of, if we could change that, if we could make that happen, I think it would be really helpful for our artists and for Seattle in general. Because it's nice to be on the map. It's nice to have, the country or the world looking at what's happening here, because really cool things are happening here.
Yeah. So kind of approaching it as a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Thinking about, okay, you're dope, but how can we get you from point A to point USA?
Yeah.
Get everyone else there. Is that something that you're trying to do with your music? I mean, I know you got a show coming up in California pretty soon. So are you trying to get out there? Are you doing a media blitz or?
Yeah. No, I'm still, at that place of, I'm not pushing myself out there in the ways that I would like to be. I'd like to start doing that in the next couple of years. But I would like that. That's definitely my goal, is to have as many people listen to my music as possible. It would make me very happy to have that kind of presence, a national presence or an international presence. And so yeah, that's definitely where I'm trying to take my music. It's on the world stage. That's what I call it.
Yeah. Well, let's think that big picture right now. But instead of talking about you and the Seattle artist, I'm always curious to hear what my guests are listening to right now, and that doesn't have to be hip hop. It can be anything. So, are there if let's just say if you're driving in the car, what are you gonna play? If you're turning up, what are you gonna play? And if you're just chilling with the homies, what are you gonna play? You got any artists off the top of your head? Albums, fresh cuts?
I've been going back to a lot of stuff recently. I'm always on Kanye. I pretty much, I listen to Kanye West all the time, all of his albums. Some of my favorite are I love to Return to Graduation and 808s, and I like Jesus a lot. I like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and College Dropout.
They're all good.
So yeah, I listen to a lot of Kanye. I listen to a lot of Lauryn Hill. I go back into my childhood a lot, and I listen to stuff that my sisters used to play. Like old R&B sometimes, like Brian McKnight and Music Soul Child. As far as new stuff right now, I really like a lot of the femme rappers that are coming up, like Baby Mother, and I like Booty Chain. Who else new? Killavesi. Yeah, I haven't been as up to date on new music as I was a couple of years ago.
Sure.
As I've gotten older, it's it just gets hard to keep up, and every year it just seems like the pile of artists gets bigger and bigger now with the internet, and there's just so much to sift through,
Hard to find stuff you actually really like.
Yeah,
I know the feeling all too well.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to about have to run out of time in the podcast, but DoNormaal, thank you so much for coming on the show, giving us some of your insights. Everyone who's listening, make sure to cop her new album, Third Daughter. It will be in links in the description below, but if you just Google DoNormaal, you'll find her on SoundCloud and not on Spotify yet. Right?
Not yet.
SoundCloud, though, is the way to go. Also on her Bandcamp, buy the album, support local arts. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you for having me. This was very fun.
No, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, this has been Hoppy on Broadway, your source for everything hip-hop and hops in the Northwest. My name is K-Rad, and until next week, peace.
Mountains, how many ways to provoke a fight? You're not special, baby boy. I reach my hand down to you. Try make it level, I'm disheveled. But what's that to you? It's DoNormaal here every time you hear my name. It's approved by everybody.